Hi there, friends. It is Friday, September 6th. It's a beautiful evening. I'm here at one of my favorite places. It is the cemetery where some of my relatives are. I love to come up here. It's a beautiful night, so I'm going to read a few passages for you. The passages have to do with perception and human conditioning, and a little bit about why we judge and perceive things the way that we do, and a couple different schools of thought, and you'll probably notice some similarities between all of the readings. So the first one I'm going to do for you is from one of my favorite people. Eckhart Tolle wrote this book, Stillness Speaks. It's so good. I find myself picking this up quite often. The pages we're going to read from right now start at page 18 and go on to 19, and then I'm going to skip over a little bit, but we'll start and dive right in. He says, the human mind, in its desire to know, understand, and control, mistakes its opinions and viewpoints for the truth. It says, this is how it is. You have to be larger than thought to realize that however you interpret your life or someone else's life or behavior, however you judge any situation, it is no more than a viewpoint, one of many possible perspectives. It is no more than a bundle of thoughts. But reality is one unified whole in which all things are interwoven, where nothing exists in it by itself. Thinking fragments reality. It cuts it up into conceptual bits and pieces. The thinking mind is a useful and powerful tool, but it is also very limiting when it takes over your life completely, when you don't realize that it is only a small aspect of the consciousness that you are. Wisdom is not a product of thought. The deep knowing that is wisdom arises through the simple act of giving someone or something your full attention. Attention is primordial intelligence, consciousness itself. It dissolves the barriers created by conceptual thought. And with this comes the recognition that nothing exists in and by itself. It joins the perceiver and the perceived in a unifying field of awareness. It is the healer of separation. Whenever you are immersed in compulsive thinking, you are avoiding what is. You don't want to be where you are, here, now. So that's pages 18 and 19. And then I love these other pages. It's from a area of the book that has to do with relationships. So this is page 109 and 110. And this has to do with conditioning and perception as well, and how they affect our relationships. And again, this is Stillness Speaks from Eckhart Tolle. I love to listen to his lectures on YouTube. He has a cute little German accent, and he's adorable, and he's so wise. So these pages say, how quick we are to form an opinion of a person, to come to a conclusion about them. It is satisfying to the egoic mind to label another human being, to give them a conceptual identity, to pronounce righteous judgment upon them. Every human being has been conditioned to think and behave in certain ways, conditioned genetically, as well as by their childhood experiences and their cultural environment. That is not who they are, but that is who they appear to be. It's our perceptions. When you pronounce judgment upon someone, you confuse those conditioned mind patterns with who they are. To do that in itself, a deeply conditioned and unconscious pattern, you give them a conceptual identity. And that false identity becomes a prison not only for the other person, but also for yourself. To let go of judgment does not mean that you don't see what they do. It means that you recognize their behavior as a form of conditioning, and you see it and accept it as that. You don't construct an identity of it for that person. That liberates you as well as the other person from identification with conditioning, with form, with mind. The ego then no longer runs your relationships. I hope that means something to you. It definitely does to me. It helps me to see people with compassion, and I can see through some of the false behaviors that are based in fear and maybe based in just accepting beliefs and perceptions that they grew up with. Maybe we're conditioned into them. It's happened to all of us. So it's a practice, and you have to put in the reps for this. It's a practice to see past people's conditioned behaviors. And you don't want to be taken advantage of, so you do have to be careful with that. But you can definitely use some empathy and compassion when you're able to do that. All right, I hope you enjoyed the reading. I'm going to do a couple more for you here in a minute. Bye.